I wonder what you make of what we just heard, the message from Tehran today. If the U.S. continues what it has been doing so far, then new fronts will be opened up against the United States. What should be Washington's reaction? What is yours?
Well, I think that the White House and the Department of Defense have been prudent, putting capabilities in place, sending a clear message to Tehran that we're not going to just sit back and let them strike our soldiers, and that it's also up to Tehran to make sure that this does not escalate outside of Gaza. But it's also, I think, important to keep in mind, we saw the pictures today of Hamas and Iranian leaders in Moscow. These things are connected. Contrary to what Congressman Burchett from Tennessee said, what Russia is doing, what Iran is doing, these are all different parts of a whole. And the Kremlin is benefiting from all of this more than anybody. And Iran has to decide, are they willing to do the Kremlin's bidding and then risk serious punishment from U.S. military capabilities?
General, when you look at the strikes that were conducted last night, what kind of deterrence, what kind of message were we sending? Because I've yet to see any evidence of what the strike's purpose was. Was it personnel of the IRGC? Was it military capabilities? How are you reading the tea leaves?
Well, I think what we saw was a very limited strike. And of course, what happens behind the scenes that we don't see publicly is a message to the Iranians saying, look, we've just demonstrated to you, we know exactly where you are. We have the ability to hit whenever we want to. So either you stop this, or at the next level, there will be an escalation by the U.S. to hit targets that will have serious damage, whether it's to Iranian oil capabilities, seaports, things like that. So I think that the administration is being prudent in this, but they're not going to sit back and let the Iranians continue to do this. Of course, they shouldn't.
General, we'd like your reaction to the tank raid that Israel conducted in Gaza last night. Israel now says it is expanding military activity in the Gaza Strip and has cut off internet and telephone service in Gaza. Are we on the eve of an invasion?
So, of course, the IDF leadership, the Israeli Defense Force leadership, is not going to tell us exactly when or how or where they're going to do this. They have done a good job, I think, even though the entire world is watching with journalists all over the place. They're not going to tell us exactly how, when, or where they're going to do it. So this is what we call OPSEC, operational security. I think that what we won't see, this is just my guess, of course, I don't think we're going to see a massive invasion with thousands of troops and armored vehicles all crushing in on Gaza at one time. I think what we'll see is more of this gradual buildup with operations like the raid last night, where they're trying to develop intelligence, figure out exactly where Hamas is located, where are the likely traps, where are the tunnels that they haven't already identified. And of course, they're trying to do this in a way that minimizes casualties among the civilian population. So I'm not sure. I can't know, obviously, but I think the way it looks so far is going to be a steady buildup of combat power until they have accomplished what they think they have to.
It feels as though the Israelis have delayed this ground invasion, and we have reporting that the U.S. and European officials were putting some pressure on them. They wanted to get the hostages out. Has that potentially helped Israel in terms of being more strategic when they go in?
Well, it's a great question. You know, the defender always has the advantage of being able to have built-up positions, the IEDs that'll be out there, booby-trapping buildings, the tunnels. That's the advantage of the defender. The attacker always has the advantage of the initiative, of picking the time and the place where they're going to attack. In this case, the delay gives the defenders more time to continue to strengthen their positions It also, I think, gives them time to build up the narrative of somehow that the Israelis are killing innocent people. So the world opinion can begin to turn against the Israelis. On the Israeli side, a huge amount of their military are reservists. Over 300,000 were called up. So there's a lot of training that's going on, getting them up to speed. The logistical preparation for this, building up the intelligence. So the Israelis also are benefiting to some extent from the extra days, but soldiers cannot sit in a crouch for a very long time. It's difficult physically as well as psychologically to be like a coiled spring, if you will. So they're both sides are getting advantages, but also disadvantages from the delay.